Divine Constitution for Moorish America. The Grand Sheikh and the Chairman of Moorish America are empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of Moorish America. The Assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs if he lives up to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the citizens of America. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly, according to the Circle 7, in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest, because on Friday, the first man was formed in flesh, and on Friday, the first man departed out of flesh and ascended into his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all citizens of Moorish America. No citizen is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. All citizens must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all citizens must obey the law of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. No organization of Moorish America is to cause any confusion, or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. With us, all citizens must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and parcel of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, Black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during that time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Jew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites, whom inhabited northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. All citizens must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of Moorish America. Moorish Americans must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of Moorish America, and then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Jew Ali, through the guidance of his Father God Allah. Islam. Caveat emptor. Moors are men, upright, independent, and fearless, who care for their loved ones and follow the prophet to a destiny which is not uncertain nor unknown. They are fortified by the impregnable doctrine built upon love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. It is therefore folly at its greatest height for smelly culprits with their insidious plans to invade such a realm. They try and try, but their own bad planning brings down wrath upon their heads like the sword of old Damascus had. Intrigue and scurrilous cunning find a difficult path to travel within the ranks of the Moors. This is so because the Moorish movement has been well planned by Noble Jew Ali, whose latent powers are abundant, unknown, and may be called into action as a matter of defense at any moment. Prophet Noble Jew Ali knows the people within his ranks who are interested. They are the vanguard of the movement, as the Moorish hordes increase here in America. All the Moors are active, not passive. A member's interest can only be in one direction, and having traveled over the road years before, the prophet knows where every member is along the road. A few feet below is another road where schemers work, where traitors grin, and culprits bask in the sun. They think they are on the same road with the true Moors, but the Moors are high above on a pinnacle, where they might view the destructionists as they fall for the last time, and their bones bleach in the sultry midday sun. Hungry scavengers flying high, catch scent, devour, and leave crying out. Caveat emptor, cast out the dead carcass. Moors high above see these plotters, purveyors, the worst that exists, and hurl themselves downward by their own works, as the hawk wait. Islam by Noble Jew Ali. Somebody want to read the divine warning? Brother Benjamin Bey, Islam.
Islam,
Empress Hill, Islam. Empress Universal Wisdom Bay, Islam.
Islam is on.
We just waiting for a divine warning.
Divine warning by nation. Citizens of all three national governments, according to the national constitution, are all of one family, bearing one free national name. Those who fail to recognize the free national name of their constitutional governments are classified as undesirable and are subject to all inferior names and abuses and mistreatments that the citizens care to bestow upon them. And it is a sin for any group of people to violate the national constitutional laws of the free government, of the free national government, and cling to the names and principles that delude to slavery. I, the prophet, was prepared by the great God Allah to warn my people to repent from their sinful ways and to go back to that state of mind of their forefathers, divine and national principles, that they will be law abiders and receive their divine rights as citizens. According to the free national constitution that was prepared for all free national beings, they are to claim their own free national name and religion. There is but one issue for them to be recognized by this government and of the earth, and it comes only through the connection of the Moorish divine and national movement, which is incorporated in this government and recognized by all other nations of the world. And through it, they and their children can receive their divine rights unmolested by other citizens, that they can pass a free national ballot at the polls of the free national constitution of the state's government, and not under a granted privilege as has been the existing condition for many generations. You who doubt whether I, the prophet, and my principles are right for the redemption for my people, go to those that know law, the city hall, amongst the officials in your government, and ask them under an intelligent tone, and they will be glad to render you a favorable reply. For they are glad to see me bring you out of darkness into light. Money doesn't make the man. It is free national standards and power that makes a man and a nation. The wealth of all national governments, gold and silver and commerce, belong to the citizens alone, and without your national citizenship by name and principles, you have no true wealth. And I am hereby calling all true citizens that stand for a national free government and enforce of the Constitution to help me in my great missionary work, because I need all support from American citizens of the United States of America. Help me to save my people who have fallen from constitutional law of government. I am depending on your support to get them back to the constitutional code again, that they will learn to love instead of hate, and will live according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, supporting our free national constitution of the United States of America. I love my people and I desire their unity and mind back to their own free national and divine standard, because day by day they have been violating the national constitutional laws of their government by claiming names and principles that are unconstitutional. If Italians, Greeks, English, Chinese, Japanese, Turks, and Arabians are forced to proclaim their free national name and religion before the constitutional government of the United States of America, it is no more than right that the law should be enforced upon all other citizens, American citizens alike. In all other governments, when a man is born and raised there and asks for his national descent name, and if he fails to give it, he is misused in prison or exiled. Any group of people that fail to answer up to the constitutional standards of law by names and principles, because to be a citizen of any government, you must claim your national descent name, because they place their trust upon issues and names formed by their forefathers. The word Negro alludes in the Latin language to the word nigger, the same as the word color alludes to anything that is painted, varnished, and dyed. And every nation must bear a national descent name of their forefathers, because honoring thy father and thy mother, your days will be lengthened upon the earth. These names have never been recognized by any true American citizen of this day. Through your free national name, you are known and recognized by all nations of the earth that are recognized by said national government in which they live. 14th and 15th Amendments brought the North and South in unit, placing the Southerners who were at the time without power. With the constitutional body of power, and at the time of 1865, the free national constitution law that was in force since 1774 declared all men equal and free. And if all men are declared by the free national constitution to be free and equal, since the constitution has never been changed, there is no need for the application of the 14th and 15th Amendment for the salvation of our people and citizens. So there isn't but one supreme issue for my people to use to redeem that which was lost, and that is through the above statement. The lion and the lamb can lie down together in yonder hills, and neither will be harmed, because love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice will be reigning in the land in those days. And the United States will be one of the greatest civilized and prosperous governments of the world. But if the above principles are not carried out by the citizens and my people in this government, the worst is yet to come, because the great God of Allah, the great God of the universe, is not pleased with the works that are being performed in North America by my people. And this great sin must be removed from the land to save it from enormous earthquakes, diseases, etc. And I, the prophet, do hereby believe that the administration of the government being more wisely prepared by more genius citizens that believe in their free national constitution and laws, and through the help of such class of citizens, I, the prophet, truly believe that my people will find the true and divine way of their forefathers, and learn to stop serving powerful customs and merely ideas of man that have never done them any good, but have always harmed them. So I, the prophet, and hereby calling aloud with the divine plea to all true American citizens, help me to remove this great sin which has been committed and being practiced by my people in the United States of America, because they know it is not the true and divine way. Without understanding, they have fallen from the true light into utter darkness of sin, and there is not a nation on earth today that will recognize them socially, religiously, politically, or economically, etc. In their present condition of their endeavor, in which they themselves try to force upon a civilized world. They will not refrain from their sinful ways of action, and their deeds have brought Jim-Croism, segregation, to everything that brings harm to human beings on earth. And they fought the Southerners for all those great issues, but I have traveled the South and have examined conditions there, and it is the work of my people continuously practicing the things which bring dishonor, disgrace, and disrespect to any nation that lives in life. And I am hereby calling all true American citizens for more support and finance to help me in my great missionary work, to bring my people out of utter darkness into marvelous light from the prophet, Noble Driver.
Islam. You got it, brother Salim. Islam, Imani.
Islam.
Islam.
Islam, Salim.
Circumcised of the Holy Quran of the Moorish Sons Temple of America, divinely appeared by the Honorable Prophet Noble Drew Ali, by the God of his Father God Allah, the great God of the universe, to redeem man from his sin from the fallen stage of humanity back to the highest plane of life with his Father God Allah. Today we're going to read chapter 6. Life and works of Jesus in India among the Muslims. Islam. The royal prince of India, Ravana in the south, was met at the Jewish feast. Ravana was a man of wealth, and he was just. With the band of Brahmic priests, sought wisdom in the West. When Jesus stood among the Jewish priests and read and spoke, Ravana heard and was amazed. And when he asked who Jesus was, from whence he came, and what he was, Chief Halil said, "We call this day We call this day star from on high. He has come to bring to men a light, the light of life, to lighten up the way of men and redeem his people of Israel. And Hillel told Ravana all about the child, about the prophecies concerning him, about the wonders of night when he was born, about the visit of the Magian priest, about the way in which he was protected from the wrath of evil man, about his flight to Egypt land, and how he then was serving his father as a carpenter of Nazareth. Ravana was entranced and asked to know the way to Nazareth, that he might go and honor such a one as son of Allah. And with his gorgeous train, he journeyed and came to Nazareth of Galilee. He found the object of his search engaged in building dwellings for the sons of men. And when he first saw Jesus, he was climbing up a 12-step ladder, and he carried in his hands a compass, square, and axe. Ravana said, "All hail, most favored son of heaven." And at the end, Ravana made a feast for all the people of the town, and Jesus and his parents were the honored guests. For certain days, Ravana was a guest in Joseph's home on Marmion Way. He sought to learn the secret of the wisdom of the son, but it was all too great for him. Then he asked that he might be the patron of the child, might take him to the east, where he could learn the wisdom of the Brahms. And Jesus longed to go, that he might learn. And after many days, his parents gave consent. Then with proud heart, Ravana with his train began the journey toward the rising sun. And after many days, they crossed the sand and reached the provinces of Orissa and the palace of the prince. The Brahmic priests were glad to welcome home the prince with favor. They received the Jewish boy. And Jesus was accepted as a pupil in the temple of Jagannath. And here he learned the Vedas and the Manic law. The Brahmic masters wondered at the clear conceptions of the child and often were amazed when he explained to them the meaning of law.
Islam.
Islam.
What's your thoughts on line 11?
Islam. And when he first saw Jesus, he was climbing up a 12-step ladder and he carried in his hands a compass, square, and axe. That is crazy. That is crazy how, we understand Jesus with being a carpenter, in the Bible, we know that from baby to when he was little, then it, skips to 30. We don't really have knowledge from when he was actually doing carpentry work with his father. So then we learn not only was he actually doing carpentry work with his father, but it really represents like chapter 5. Like you say, the tools remind me of the ones we had in the workshop of the mind. So as opposed to just actually being a carpenter, it was kind of based on that more science as what we consider a mason, that in-depth, the adept knowledge. So first thing came to my head was just how they subliminally put, they just, like you say, and he first saw Jesus, he was climbing up a 12-step ladder. He carried in his hand a compass, square, and X. That's all subliminal, so that's all like occult, hidden, it's hidden meanings up in there, Islam, though. I yield the floor.
Islam. And when he saw Jesus, when he first saw Jesus, he was climbing a 12-step ladder, right? So we're dealing with ascension. We're dealing with the 12 glands of the body that he mastered as well. Also wanted to highlight line 18, referring to Yahshua as the Jewish boy. For anybody that's new to, it puts in perspective that he was Jewish. He was also Muslim. He was Jewish, Muslim, right? So they're one and the same. Any thoughts on that chapter before we transition on Zoom or in person?
Yeah, I did.
Islam.
Yesterday, I've been hitting these books and more specifically, Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition. Let me see if I can find it. I looked up more and it kind of connects into context what we're changing to what we're talking about.
What's the second?
Hold on, let me get there. All right, yeah, I'm here. Sorry about that. I found it.
Islam.
This is Moore, an officer in the Isle of Man, who summons the court for several sheddings. The office is similar to the English bailiff. It says mooring in maritime law, anchoring or making fast to shore or dock, securing or confining a vessel a particular station by cable or anchors in a line or chain running the wharf. So yeah, it's pertaining to what is it called? Maritime law and like the seafaring, what was I gonna say? Said he had a compass in his hand. A compass can also be something you measure to get around according to the coordinates.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mooring, yep. And in some law dictionaries, it say the moor is equivalent to 20 bailiffs. 100 bailiffs. And that
Yeah.
means competent moor got the competency, of the law as well, But yeah. Yep. Navigation.
Well, yeah, let's say in maritime law.
Mhm. Yeah. Any other
The
thoughts
compass in the square represents the more.
in law dictionary? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, what'd you say, Jerry Bay?
When I heard that compass in the square, I just think of the more. You know what I mean? And then the 12 ascensions, right? You said he was commenting on the 12 step ladder.
Yeah.
Yeah, I look at that as the study of universal law, astronomy, astrology. I see that in that the 12 chakras, the 12 disciplines. So I just see like a lot of signs and symbols that's connecting with each other.
Mhm. Yep. Yeah.
Islam Noble. And one more thing, I just want to acknowledge how he went to go study with the Brahms in India, and how he was was able to adapt and open-minded to have different intakes, different teachers. So he was just as the Christ that we think we know. It was really a bunch of different influences, and he was open to. He was already intelligent, I guess gifted, but he was not indoctrinated, but he was taking in other different religions, other different sciences and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like we didn't, I ain't learned that in church when I was, but it's amazing that he was with the Brahms and with everybody else,
Yeah.
saying, that's how we need to be. We got to be open and be able to try to take in all cultures, all sciences, all different people's understanding of, everything in life, and to probably broaden our horizon. Islam.
Islam. I think that's true indeed, because all religions, like Moors know all religions come from one. You know what I mean? Metaphysical reasons, Coptic reasons. You know what I mean? We just got to know the authentic meaning of it, and then everything will be okay. Once you get into the dogma, it gets you out. You go outside yourself. You feel me? And when you go outside yourself, the fixed problem, you lose power.
If you go outside yourself, that's when you got to come in.
Islam. Yep. So I'm gonna transition to an article by a Moor named Morpheus L. A lot of it should be repetition for the Moors I've been studying for a couple of years. A lot of the Moors just coming into the info, just take notes. So we're connecting the dots between the Monopoly game and Asiatic American culture. First, I impel the concept of all praise to the Most High. This script started off as a text message to my brothers, Darah Ali and Marak Bey, which was his cousin. As I was manifesting this revelation, I realized these concepts ought to be made public. This is the message. Definition of personal liberty mentions protection from unfair monopoly in trade. It is interesting how the Monopoly board game was based off what is now called Atlantic City. In fact, though, Atlantic City was called Abshin Beach. When we look up Abshin Beach or the Abshin Lighthouse that's still there today, there's a visual, just in case y'all never seen it before. Can everybody still see the screen with the lighthouse?
Islam.
Islam, okay. So that's what we're referencing. Everybody here can kind of go to Abshin Lighthouse if they want to see the visual. So Abshin Beach, prior to the incorporation of Atlantic City. In 1854, Gregorian calendar, this is why you have the Abshin Lighthouse, what I just showed you, on this island in North America, / Al Morocco, called Atlantic City today. If we go back a little further, the word Abyssin is a corruption of the Aboriginal American appellation Abyssinian. So when we look up Abyssinian, it essentially means little water. As you can see right here. So Abyssinian, therefore Abyssinian Beach, North America / Amarak. So now it's a high school called Abyssinian, and their mascot is a moorhead, FYI. So we see how that info, Abyssinian being a Moorish word, because the school used the mascot as a Moor, as well as out here at Alhambra. There's a high school called Alhambra as well. The little island, Abyssinian Beach, now called Atlantic City, modernly is symbolic of all the quasi-national domiciles claiming jurisdiction over the Moors and their ancestral estate, i.e. the colonists' street names of Atlantic City are inclusive of the 50 states' quasi-national domiciles, just as the Monopoly board game. Federal Reserve notes, in reality, are lawfully as valuable as the fiat fake notes that come with the Monopoly board game, meaning FRNs are toilet paper and unconstitutional. Try using Monopoly notes outside of the board game, and you will be considered crazy. It only has value if you are a participant in the function of the board game. However, what is not funny is that de facto operators don't recognize this as a game, as it is part of their ideology, and the Aboriginal Americans suffer for lack of knowledge of these facts. For those who have knowledge of this island, trust that everything from the Baltic Ave and east of the Baltic Ave is a headache for parking under the colonial operations. You will have to give up some Federal Reserve notes or monopoly money for comfortable parking of land vessels. In other words, free parking is as valuable as the Abyssinian Beach in North America, as on the Monopoly board game. The common traveler finds this true. Here's a visual of that area. The above is the portion of the Moors' American ancestral estate. It is logical to fold the Monopoly board and stop playing where it is started at. Would we be able to deal within the reality then? Salute. Salute. I think so, with that reasoning in mind. After all, if you play the game, the objective is for players to move around the board, buying and trading properties, developing their properties with houses and hotels, and collecting rent from their opponents. the ultimate goal being to drive them into bankruptcy or civil litter mortuus status. This concept constitutes unfair monopoly of trade, and for that reason is a violation of personal liberty. Also note, the L Electric Company is on the monopoly board. For the record, this publication was made tangible by inspiration of studying the definition of personal liberty and its correlation to protection from unfair monopolies, which was intended to be shared with my American peers, or true American peers, aboriginal to the continental Americas, primitively domiciling in the territory of which the monopoly game corresponds to Abbasgami Beach, or Atlantic City today. See the definition of personal liberty for understanding. So here's the definition of personal liberty: freedom from physical and personal restraint, the right to pursue happiness, freedom to go where one chooses and to pursue such lawful occupations as may seem suitable. In its broad sense, personal liberty would include freedom from unlawful arrest and restraint from unlawful seizures and searches, from assault and battery, from libel and slander, from general warrants of arrest, from unfair monopolies of trade, and from quartering soldiers in time of peace. And it would include also the right to trial by jury, liberty of conscience, right to travel and immigrate, to bear arms, and to petition the government for redress and grievances. And this is a definition from a law dictionary called Jean Bouvier's Encyclopedia of the Law, France's third revision, page 2576. We read a definition from that law dictionary. But personal liberty, in its stricter sense, it includes only freedom to move about as one pleases and to pursue anything lawful, any lawful calling. Definition of American: an Aboriginal or anyone of the various copper-colored natives found on the continent by Europeans in its original application of the word. With respect to these facts, word is bond, and I hear the drum beats of Aboriginal Moors Americans playing in my head as I'm writing at this point at 1:28 a.m., March 25th Gregorian. The sound is so harmonic, but I can't describe it. I will just accept it as a message from the Creator. Transitioning to definition of morel, M-O-R-E-L, adjective from the Latin morellus, which is from the Latin word moriso, moruso, or more, or morello, or more, and simply means dark color. The definition of morello, so he's slow walking us for a reason. We'll see the connection pretty shortly, but just know morel is more, or just having dark color. So transitioning to morello, any of the cultivated cherries. Now, morello is a cherry in Latin. A morello is a cherry in Latin. The definition of morello: any of the cultivated cherries, dark cherries. Dark cherries. What are morellos? Anybody? What's a morello, everybody? Dark cherry? All right, dark cherry. Definite dark cherry, right? Forming one of the two groups derived from, in Latin, prunus cerebus. So in Latin, prunus. So we hear the prune designating the cherry as part of the prune family, right? Prunus cerebus, distinguished by the dark colored skin and juice from the amarellas. So now when we transition to George Washington now chopping down the cherry tree, with respect to the correlation of the word more or morellos and cherries, it gives the impression of intellectual evidence regarding George Washington chopping down a cherry tree and correlates to the Almaracan American flag. Moors Americans are aboriginal to North, South, and Central America. Thus, distinguishing factor needs to be made for the public record that Moors Americans are not Indians, because the geographical fact is that the continental Americas is not India. India is in Asia. However, Moors, Americans, Aboriginal to the continent of Americas, who are aware, recognize self as indigenous or Indu, I-N-D-U, being the etymon of indigenous. Indu will be the etymon of indigenous. On the same note, the original appellation of what is called India today is really Hindustan. And in Hindustan, you have the word Indu, which is back to indigenous. In reality, the lineal and collateral consanguinity or bloodline of the Moors, Americans Aboriginal to the continental Americas, is connected with Hindustani Asia. The book History of the Moorish Empire in Europe, published by J.P. Limpoco Company in 1909, affirms de jure history and connection of Moors service in Hindustan military. So we have Moors in the Hindustani military, and of Moors teaching and learning in Hindustan, Asia, in Koh-i-Noor, which means the mountain of the light. Herein, I quote Noble Jew Ali, where he states, "Come all ye Asiatics of North America, and hear the truth about your nationality, which is political status and birthrights, which determines your domicile." Definition of nationality, of which Noble Jew Ali summons Moors to hear the truth about, because we Moors needed him as we needed the truth the most. Law definition of nationality, coming from the Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition. Nationality, that quality or character which arises from the fact of a person belonging to a nation or state. Nationality determines the political status of the individual, especially with reference to allegiance, while domicile determines his civil status. See definition of quasi-national domicile, municipal domicile, and national domicile. And once again, that was a reference from the Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition. Transitioning to the law definition of nation from the Bouvier's Encyclopedia Dictionary. Nation, an independent body politic, a society of men united together for the purpose of promoting their mutual safety and advantage by joint effort of their combined strength. Once again, the law definition of nation, an independent body politic, a society of men united together for the purpose of promoting their mutual safety and advantage by joint efforts of their combined strength. Transitioning, in honor of the Prophet Noble Jew Ali's historical divine warning of the nations, Noble Jew Ali made clear that there is no need for the application of the 14th and 15th Amendment for the salvation of my people and citizens. And yes, because the 14th Amendment is part of the monopoly. So these are a list of reasons Moors Americans cannot be US citizens in the law of nature. 1, Moor/Americans, one of the same, are natural persons, living divine beings. 2, corporations are quote unquote persons, as that word is used in the first clause of the 14th Amendment. In partial reference to Henry Campbell's Black Law Dictionary of Ancient and Modern Jurisprudence, definition of person as well. 3, the 14th Amendment, Section 1 states, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and the states where they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny any person within his jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. 4, for the fact that Moors, Americans, are aboriginal to the Western Hemisphere, the status of Moors, Americans, cannot be circumscribed to one quasi portion of their entire ancestral estate. This is why Noble Jew Ali called on all true American citizens, opposed to only United States citizens. The reality is the land is America, not the United States. 5, for these reasons, Moors, Americans cannot be considered squatters on their ancestral estate, Western Hemisphere, because we are the true possessors of the land in the law of nature. In closing, the message I raised, in closing the message, I raised the point, in fact, that Noble Jew Ali, El-Haj Sharif Abdul Ali, was of the Cherokee tribe. However, he's declared and proclaimed nationality, in fact and law, was Moorish American. All due respect to the reader's judgment, the next section of this writing is entitled Cherokee Rose, and ties to how this text message started with the concept of personal liberty and unfair monopoly in trade. As well, it correlates with the Asiatic connection to the Western Hemisphere. From the looks of the map below, with a strong arm, you could skip a rock from Alaska, Northwest America, to Northeast Asia. And as y'all can see this map, this route is what Genghis Khan took when he attempted to bang out, go to war with his cousins over here. That's the same route, dealing with the Bering Straits. FYI. When he brought the Mongolians with him to try to, conquer this area, because he was a conqueror. But of course that didn't work. Sent him back on his way. The Mongolians got stuck here. We let them have the reservations and the teepees. And they became the Native Americans, which is promoted in school as being the indigenous people of the land, right? They're Mongolian, yeah.
That's neat. It's like a really neat double entendre when Native Americans claim to be indigenous, which means, generally speaking, native to the land, but their indigenous means Hindu indigenous, which is still technically Moorish.
Still Moorish. Yep.
So it's like a double back loop. It's like tying a knot in itself to solidify itself.
Yep.
Just not here, indigenous here.
They're indigenous in the sense that they're Moors. Because Hindu or Indu is in the word Hindu. And in indigenous as well. So that's back to the Moor.
So it becomes like a blurry line when you define when a Moor isn't a Moor, if everything was under Moor control. And then like somehow it got twisted between like a secret Moors or whatever.
Right.
Like it's almost like Moor became human, because it's just hard to see that line of difference when someone wasn't a Moor.
Right. And that's why they try to make the original people look like they got shipped from somewhere else and that we're not original. So that paradigm could be like, the Mongolians is the original Americans. The blurred lines, you know what I mean? So transitioning, Noble Jew Ali was from the Cherokee tribe. So we're transitioning to Cherokee Rose, which is the technical word of the Cherokee Rose is Rosa lavagita. And the Cherokee Rose is a white rose, as y'all can see on the screen. It's a white fragrant rose native to southern China and Taiwan. So follow where we're going with this. This is a rose that's indigenous to another part of the world, but there's Cherokees here. So we're getting at the connection on why Noble Jew Ali said we're Asiatics. He's slow walking us. The brother slow walking us in his own way, right? So it's a white fragrant rose native to southern China and Taiwan, south of Laos and Vietnam. The flower is commonly associated with the Trail of Tears, which is a forced relocation of Native Americans in southern eastern North America. Its petals represents the woman's tears shed during the period of a great hardship and grief throughout the US government forced march from the Cherokees' home to US forts, such as Gilmer. The flower has a gold center, symbolizing the gold taken from the Cherokee tribe. So once again, the flower has a gold center, symbolizing the gold taken from the Cherokee tribe. At this present day, the gold taken from Moorish nationals is relevant to the substitution of the natural substance, gold and silver, for the unfair monopoly trade of unconstitutional Federal Reserve notes or monopoly money. Transitioning to the definition of money in the law dictionary, the Bouvier's Law Dictionary, third revision that was published in 1914, the definition of money: gold and silver, the common medium of exchange in a civilized nation. So gold and silver is the utilization of exchange among civilized nations. Transitioning to Article 1, Section 10 of the American Constitution. No state shall enter into any treaty. So no states can enter into treaties, alliance, or confederations, grant letters of marque and reprisal, coin money, emit bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver, coin a tender in payments of debts, pass any bill of attainder or ex post facto law, or law impairing the obligations of contracts, or grant any title of nobility. So Article 1, Section 10 is saying a lot. What is Article 1, Section 10 saying? No state can enter into a treaty because only nations can enter into treaties. States can link up and form a body, elect a sultan, and then enter into a treaty, but no individual body politic, no individual state can enter into treaties. States can enter into treaties amongst themselves, which are called confederations, and link up amongst themselves. But that's not a treaty with another nation, because a treaty is a contract between two nations, which essentially is international law. That's what makes it international.
Hold up, but can a state act as a nation?
Yeah, you can represent, you can be an ambassador for a nation or a nationality of people, but a one body politic can't enter into a treaty with another nation.
Gotta be like multiple,
You got
multiple states.
multiple states coming together, forming a confederation. And then our people, our culture, we elect a sultan to be the head of that confederation. And then our sultan enters into a treaty with other nations.
I hear that. It still sounds like a blurry line of this like paperwork to turn a state into a nation. So like that way they can act accordingly, doing nation-like things, just as much as like if within our United States and different, provinces act, accordingly. I think it seems like there's like just a vague layer of like paperwork to just justify how a state is a nation, or creating mandates or ordinances and whatnot.
I look at it like we all a part of the nation by blood, and based on the territory of those members of the nation, is how you get the states. So yeah, it's a way on paper, but divinely it's just as simple as that.
Islam.
And then once you read the definition of government in any old dictionary or any law dictionary, it's going to say the organization of people. So it's back to the organization of people is what the government is anyway. So you organize in a territory, that's a state government. And hopefully the idea is for Moors to do that everywhere in America. And then we all come together and link up. You know what I mean? You had something, Benjamin, Brother Benjamin? Oh, okay, I thought you were raising your hand.
No, I was just making my screen bigger so I could see the words I'm hearing.
All right, Salam.
Islam, no.
Islam, you got something?
Islam. So are you basically saying like we need to create more states and all connect and all link up in the sense of temples?
Yeah, like I said, ideally all Moorish science temples are supposed to be those states. And then a couple of the members of each state will become what you call part of a grand body, right? And that grand body will be, essentially the overseers and make sure things are being run right in the states, et cetera. And then we elect a sultan. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
it was some Moors out here from Houston. They called it DIMPT, and they was talking about how they went to the United Nations and they erected their that were they trying to get it, I guess, like the Maroons, the Accompanied Maroons in Jamaica, how they got they was recognized, I guess, as a Moor state. So they was saying like, yeah, we would have to erect these Moor state and connect with everybody and go to the United Nations to get recognized.
Yeah, the United Nations is not necessary for recognition. They've been compromised as well. That's why I like referencing the Inter-American
That's
Declaration.
what I told her. Agreed. I told her that.
Yeah, so it's really about us just doing what we need to do internally, our internal affairs, get organized, and then like, you know, we can go to any city hall or it's really about just the action first. So like we don't need permission from outside entities. We just need to do it. Like we need to have
It's
the
community
means.
that we need is to come
Yeah.
together and uniting everybody and have fun, because they can't see us. Like, even if we all separated right now, it's just the unity. We all need to be on the same accord, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like, we could all be more, but if we all ain't operating under the same unity, that's the only reason why we haven't been recognized our clean and pure nation. You know what I'm saying? Haven't clearly put it all together, you know what I'm saying? It's supposed to unify like all the temples worldwide and become one people, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
saying,
yeah,
yeah, they can't recognize we all just all these different, you know what I'm saying? Simple numbers, all that, you know what I mean? So
yeah. People on the outside don't see us, don't take us serious because we're not united. You know what I mean? So that's what it comes down
Right,
to.
on the it seemed like on the layman side, yeah, going to like the Bureau of Indian Affairs and going to the UN to be recognized. I understand the strategy far as in, you know, having something to back up what you're saying when you're defending yourself. But, you know, allodially as a Moor, you know, with the petitions and trying to be recognized by the BIA and all that, you know, it's really unlawful. They can't recognize you. You know, a European nation can't recognize the Moors.
Islam,
You know,
that's exactly what I was basically trying to get at to the lady. I'm like, okay, y'all still going to be recognized by foreigners and strangers.
Islam. Yep.
And then when you do that, they have a sense that you don't know what you're doing fully. When you go to them like
Right.
that, they get that you don't get it.
Right.
Right.
They supposed to come to us to get naturalized.
You feel me? Yeah, right. That part.
Right. That's supposed to be on us internally. So, so will we have more respect and power if we had our own land? Do we need to own our own like land masses in different states? Maybe that would make
Yeah, yeah. Even
Well, you know, land can't be sold or bought. You know what I mean? So the land is still ours. So, you know, it's just we all have to come together collectively and think of a strategy to obtain land. You know, how we want to go about it, because it's abandoned stuff out there. You know, we can do it the way anybody else do it, which is buy it. And while you have it in your possession, you know what I mean, you can defend it, far as in saying you have the allodio ownership to, you know, the place you at. You know, but it's so many, it's just a crazy strategy you got to come with, because, you know, we oppress.
yeah,
We know the
I heard
answer.
somebody.
Uh-huh.
I was talking to somebody the other day, man. They was talking about how Vegas came about in the first place, like how the mob just pulled up to the desert and they just started operating, and they started doing what they was doing out there, just basically on some wild, wild west type stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I don't know, that got me thinking. Like, I mean, there's plenty of places out there. Like, is it possible, you know, to go somewhere, find a state like that, you know, and just set up shop somewhere and not even,
agreed.
you know what I mean?
Agreed.
Not
No,
even acknowledge it.
absolutely.
yeah.
Good.
You know, for example, out here in Cali, once you start going north, west, east, too far, you're gonna see there's a bunch of land. It's more land than it is there, what you call a city. It's more just raw land than it is cities or municipalities. So it's not gonna be hard. What it comes down to is basically us putting together a plan to get the land, make it look better where it's not looking rough. We building on it and we making it look better than it did before we didn't claim it. And when you look up adverse possession, not only is it a notorious takeover of the land, but you're fixing it up. You're bringing value to it. You know what I mean? And
Islam.
that is something that takes a game plan, right? Do we know how to do we know how to farm? Do we know how to build? Do we know how to put irrigation systems? Do we know how to install solar panels? Do we know how to, you know what I mean? Pave the road where it's level? That's the Prophet Noble Jew Ali talking about the genius citizens, is taking that know-how for our benefit and not asking somebody else to do it. We got to figure it out, whether it's saving money for 3-4 years until we got enough money to pay somebody to do it, or send some people to vocation school amongst us that we pay for paying dues to do it. But that's kind of like where the plotting and planning, because that shows seriousness and it shows unity on an intellectual level, right? Then you start invoking the laws of the land, because now the divine laws, we check that off, because divinely we working together. Now we can enforce the laws of the land, and it makes sense. It don't look like we're trying to get away with something, because they've seen the diligence that we did even put it together in the first place. Like, okay, yeah, they serious. You know what I mean?
Right. Mhm.
Islam.
Islam. Transitioning to the definition of artificial monopoly. An inclusive right granted by the government for exploitation of anything. And that's coming from the unabridged dictionary, Webster's 1936. Definition of natural monopoly. A monopoly arising from possession of a part of the earth's surface, having a natural resource or resources. So that's where we're saying with the adverse possession, doing things and how we're supposed to do it, that would be a natural monopoly, right? So transitioning, this is a visual of the Trey Moore Hotel in Atlantic City, which is an imperial building of Absegami Beach, North America, facing east. Pre-monopoly, Absegami Beach is modernly called Atlantic City, where the monopoly game is based from. Keep in mind that chapter 47 of the Holy Quran of Moorish Holy Temple of Science, Moorish Science Temple of America, affirms that Moabites / Moroccans are the true possessors of the Moroccan Empire in the Western Hemisphere. Transitioning to the definition of Moor, Moorish, from the impartial reference of a member of any of the Asian. So in this definition of Moor, any member of the Asian or African dark races, usually adopting the Mohammedan religion. In history, a Saracen or Arab. So that's from the Webster's Unabridged Dictionary, published in 1936. Any Asian, anybody saying they African, Arab is a Moor. Transitioning to the definition of Hittite. Hittite. From the Hebrew, Ibri, Hebrea, Kittim, a member of the Hamitic people. And we know we're saying Hamitite, we're dealing with Ham, right? Whoever didn't know that, we're dealing with our ancient brother Ham. Hamitic people mentioned in the Old Testament inhabiting Asia Minor and Syria. They seem to be very powerful and highly civilized, coming from Webster's Unabridged Dictionary, 1936, definition of Hittite. And as we know in the Holy Quran, we know that's our lineage: Moabites, Hittites, Canaanites, etc. Definition of Moabite in the 1910 Webster's New International Dictionary: a member of the ancient Semitic people. When we read the definition of Moabite, the ancient Semitic people. So that means we're the Jews, right? closely related to the Hebrew or Ibri, an officer of the law, as in a bailiff. Now, the Moor just read the definition of Moor, dealing with 100 bailiffs. So now we're reading the definition of Moabite in a different dictionary, an officer of the law. That's what bay means, right? Right? So let's put this together. Here are a couple pictures or examples of Moors aboriginal to the continent of America. We see where it's at. Us. Noble Jew Ali said, help me bring my people back into the constitutional fold of government. For further evidence of Asiatic, moderately called Aztec connection to the continental Americas, see the definition of swastika from Swabi, or from, from Savasti welfare. Suel plus asti. This was originally a religious symbol used in Manchuria, or moderately called China, Japan, North, South, and Central America, and was a religious symbol of completion or good luck. So now we know what the swastika in its original inception, for one, is ancient Asiatic culture. For two, it means completion or good luck. And why is it completion? Because we see how the direction is going. That's just the earth glyph. We still dealing with zodiac, we're dealing with the swastika. That's still the earth glyph. It's just showing the direction that the earth glyph is going. Right, I mean, right? Right, where it rotates. That's, we're looking at the earth glyph, the zodiac. We're looking at Mother Zodiacus when we look at the swastika. Right? Or the cross. Most Christians associate with the cross, minus the directional points. It'd just be the cross, right? Also, is symbolic of the cycle of the sun. That's the direction we're talking about, the cycles of the sun, which gives rise to the circle 7. The observer may see the letter Z overlapping itself or the number 7 in 4 positions, apparently circular. So we got how many 7s are in the swastika? 4, right?
Right.
4 corners. 4 corners, right? Circle 7. So the swastika is the circle 7. Nothing to run away from. This is our stuff.
Hold on, can you say that again, please? Swastika is 4 corners, which is what?
Yeah, going counterclockwise, you see a 7 right here. That's 1 7. 7 right here. That's a second 7. Third 7 and the fourth 7.
Oh,
Yeah, and a circle, circumference is square.
Mhm.
Also with the swastika.
hold on, say it again. And a circle circumference is square what?
Yeah, so that means a square, pretty much the circle is just inside the square. You know, you see a square, you might as well say it's a circle as well.
Because of the 360 degrees aspect of both.
Oh, that's like some trans logic, bro. That's a genius.
7th grade. That's 7th grade geometry.
It also references Buddha, Confucius, Judah, and Muhammad going through the 4 cycles of enlightenment to reach the higher self.
Yeah, everybody heard that?
Nah, say it again.
Say it a little louder.
It represents Buddha, Confucius, Jesus, and Muhammad in the full circle of life of coming into the higher self.
Hold on. You basically giving this idea of like this circle 7 is like Shazam. You know, you mix the 4 of them together, our powers combined, Captain Planet kind of shit going on.
Yeah, that's what all that
pretty
means.
neat. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, even in the Power Rangers, each Ranger had their own little conveyance, and then all their conveyances came together to make the Megazord. It's the same thing.
Mighty Morph,
Yeah.
Morphology, Morph.
Yep. All these is based on this. All roads lead to the more science.
Well, in
Right.
that same geometry of like square and a circle, that applies to pentagons and triangles too. I mean, they
Yeah.
all-
Yeah, because it's like the perimeter of the square and the circumference of a circle, are they equal? You know what I mean? Yeah.
but that's all shapes. It's just claiming like it's like the rainbow of shapes. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
all right. Oh, and also I started thinking about the swastika. I learned this thing recently about a drink of codes. Like it's like a West African glyphs kind of thing. Are you guys familiar with that?
I never heard of the drink codes.
Yeah, you can do a quick Google and like pull up the imagery and of that. You'll see it quickly. It's very similar to the swastika, and they're both in the similar origins. Basically like glyphs, like almost like a Egyptian hieroglyphs, but it's like more archaic than that. And
Okay.
it is said that those are like talismans or control frequencies just as much as we have like ACTG for like blood or whatever. I mean, so like I just learned about it recently, so I think it's neat. You mentioned swastika being a powerful circle 7 kind of thing. Now I see that connection. So yeah.
That's wow. That's wow. So transitioning to a quote from a book called The Light of Asia. Quote, I see the rosy light, the foot sole marks, the soft curl tendril of the swastika, the 80 lesser tokens. Thou art Buddha, and thou wilt preach the law and save all flesh who learn the law. Max Mueller distinguished from the swastika with arms prolonged to the right, the swavistika with arms prolonged to the left. Other names for the swastika are Fluffot and Gamdian. Transitioning to a picture of, see, most people have seen this picture of Hillary Clinton, and the picture in the Benjamin Franklin room. In that room, mind you, these flags have been in this room since the 1780s. So they've been there. Had nothing to do with just because Clinton is having a press conference with an ambassador of the Kingdom of Morocco. That's not why those flags are right there. They've been there. So to keep that in mind. So Hillary Clinton, Secretary of State, stated for the public record that Moroccans are the first nation to recognize the United States. Why does she say nation opposed to country if we're referring to the Kingdom of Morocco? Think, reference the word more. In honor of the last prophet in these days, Noble Jew Ali, El-Haj Sharif Abdul Ali, and my national family, I close with the following quotes from Noble Jew Ali. First quote, the fallen sons and daughters of the Asiatic nation and of North America need to learn to love instead of hate. Maybe love and time will cancel those ancient hatreds. Every living thing is connected to every other living cord. The David of the light is purity, who slays the strong Goliath of the dark and seeks the Savior love upon the throne. Man will regain his lost estate, his heritage, but he must do it in a conflict that cannot be told in words. Yes, he must suffer trials and temptations manifold, but let him know cherubim and seraphim, who rule the stations of the sun, and spirit of the mighty Allah, who rule the solar stars, are his protectors and his guide, and they will lead to victory. Transition into some visuals dealing with the Mauryan dynasty. Our people in Hindustan, you see he's fezzed up right here in this mountain. And we also see the Statue of Liberty. We also see a picture of the Moors in Russia, the Russian army fezzed up, which will mean we either Aboriginal Russians. And also, whenever you hear the word Vladimir, that's a Moorish title of nobility.
Isn't it, Dracula, Vladimir?
Vladimir, yeah,
Dracula?
Yep. and Putin,
Right,
Vladimir Putin,
right.
that's not his name.
Oh,
His name is not Vladimir.
okay.
That's the position he's in. As a, because we're talking about the Russian czars,
Right,
the Moors, right?
okay.
The Vladimir, just like the Pope,
Right.
they take that, right?
So that was the Vlad versus
Muhammad,
Muhammad.
Muhammad II, which was our Sultan. Like, you know, that they call him Mehmed, but you know,
Right, they may move it.
Mehmed, yeah,
Maybe Muhammad though.
but he's Muhammad. Sultan, and when you look at the 101s, that's the Sultan, that when they say, what do we call our Moorish ruler? A Sultan. And then, who took down the devil? Muhammad. Of what? He took down Byzantine, but he was,
Right.
but his, they would call him Ottoman, right?
Yeah. That was what was that?
The 101s?
No, Mehmet.
Yeah, that was him. That's,
The Ottoman.
yeah, that's, and he's in the 101s. That's what we're looking at.
Yeah.
That's that particular Sultan is what nobody always talking about.
Yeah,
That shut down the devil.
and he was like 21.
Because they say 1450s in the 101s. Like, what year was like 1453 or something like that, right? That he shut down the Byzantine.
Hmm. Well.
Right.
A little before 1492. It
Right.
was like 1450, 1460.
All right, so we the original Russians, we the czars, we the Vladimirs. Vladimirs are Moorish title. Okay. So if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and I will forgive their sin and heal their land. That's a verse from the Bible, actually, 2nd Chronicles. Transitioning to the original Corsica coat of arms. Now, when I say Corsican, that's what Napoleon was. Napoleon wasn't from France. He was a Corsican. Corsican. And the coat of arms of the Corsicans is the Moor with the
Right, and then like
the bandana, like the ninja. What's his name? The Karate Kid.
Yeah,
Like on the
that's,
head,
Russo Daniel Russo.
Right, Danielson. Danielson, yeah.
Miyagi.
Mr. Miyagi.
So that's the one on the flag, the Hades,
Yeah.
the original.
Mhm. Yep,
The coat of arms.
coat of arms.
They're not European. You see the woody hair on it.
Right.
And then it's like,
Yeah.
it's not.
Right. So the main charge in the coat of arms in Corsica is Moro, Corsican for the Moor. So Moro is just Corsican for saying the Moor. Originally a female Moor, blindfolded and wearing a necklace made of beads. No use is attested prior to 1736, when it was used by both sides during the struggle for independence. In 1760, General Paoli ordered the necklace to be removed from the head and the blindfold raised. So that's what we see, that the most common picture is raised above his head. His reason, reported by his biographers, was les cores volant éclair. Oh, that's Latin. The English translation is the Corsicans want to see clearly. That's why the blindfold was raised. Now we got how we talk about now with the over the head. The Corsicans want to see clearly. Freedom must walk by the torch of philosophy. And by the way, this is because I'm saying the word torch, something came to my mind, like the book called The Torch or things like that. It symbolizes the light. That's why we use it. Is light, right? Or the truth. The truth of light. Right.
Yeah.
Won't they say that we fear the light? Later, the blindfold was changed to a headband. The current Corsican flag is the Bandera Testa Mora. So the Corsican flag is called the Bandera Testa Mora. And now I can see in English where they get bandana from. Cause you see the bandera. Now I make a little connection right now.
Right.
Right. Etymology, right? Testamora is the male rather than the female and has a regular knot at the back of his head, right, tied from the back. Any thoughts? I'm gonna open the floor because that's the end of this piece right here. Any thoughts, questions on anything that was discussed or in general on anything? Any gray areas anybody may have. Let's not make them gray anymore. One, yes. 1:30, 1:15. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna present today. So we kind of started pretty late. Once again, one more round for thoughts, etc. Or anything. Anybody here physically or in the chat?
All is well. All is well.
Wow. I'm gonna say this for next week.
I just want to double down and say how hilarious like the entendres are with this more life, you know, like the white supremacy swastika is technically circle 7 because it's a circle in 7s. Like that's my pretty neat.
Yeah, it's all coming to the fold, you know, like we're talking about the blindfold. The blindfold is off. The bandana is off our eyes.
Everything's connected.
Mhm. So I'm gonna do one more round for questions, thoughts, miscellaneous thoughts. No one has any thoughts, we'll go ahead and close out in prayer. Just we'll wait for the brother to get out the bathroom. And we'll go ahead and close out. Please, Brother Rashad, how you doing over there, man? Hey. Emperor Shuja, how you doing over there?
Doing pretty good.
No questions, thoughts?
I'm very enlightened. This is all new to me. And as for that swastika part, I just heard something on there where they used that as it was really of how I forgot who the guy was that died, but the way his body fell was supposed to be the image of the swastika. So now I'm hearing this and it's like, what, they be lying? They be telling us anything.
Yeah. Brother Imani, how you doing over there, man?
Peace, man. I'm good, man. I'm good. I like this monopoly concept. I like this monopoly concept a lot because it, they talk about it not being real because it's not backed by gold anymore or anything. Like, it's really not backed by nothing anymore but like nuclear weapons. It's not real. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing like substantial. There's no substance to the actual money that we have. So the money we have in the US is not even real. It's like, I don't know. They changed the way you completely look at it, changed the way uh
Yeah.
But I tell them too, that's the story.
Empress Universal Wisdom Bay, how you doing over there?
You ever see them do that? Right. They do that Constitution.
Right.
I went back muted, I'm not sure. I saw you said something,
If they had anything.
maybe she having technical difficulty. Oh, it's okay. It's Lime, all is well. Brother Salim, how you doing over there, man?
Yeah, brother Salim, I heard we look alike, so you know I have to come in here and take a look, you know what I'm saying? It's not more. Peace and love, Noble.
Peace and love, more. You know, we're part of fam.
Yeah, I was like, hold on, baby, what I look like in here? It's
Yeah,
not,
we-
it's not
Yeah, I'm the Houston cousin. I'm the cousin more. I'm the-
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's my brethren, but yeah, you know what I'm saying? I was like, hold on, let me see.
yeah. That's it. I'm my people in Cali. You know what I'm saying? So stop playing, man. Yeah, we consanguinity up. You know what I'm saying? We consanguinity up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's right, my blood right, you know what I'm saying?
Islam, Noble. That's right.
Hey, you
I'm
gotta go.
gonna be out there soon. I'm gonna be out there. Come see y'all, man. I'm gonna be right there on the stairs, man. Back there. I'm gonna be there soon.
Yeah, man. Well, too, man, pull up.
Well, that's something that,
Brother Benjamin Bay, how you feeling over there, man?
and you people brought that.
I'm peaceful, man. I'm peaceful. All of them. Just piggyback off the someone said, not how the concept was a great revealer. That's true. So, yeah, that was
Islam. Hey, Bay, how you feeling over there, man?
Islam, I'm doing well, Noble. I just want to say I appreciate everybody showing up today and giving their full attention. It's always good to see all the Moors together. But yeah, man, a great class, bro. So I'm doing good.
Islam. I want to add, of course, Mouthpiece Mutable is incredible. I listen to it every day, man. I came across Cujo playing the Painted Land of Khalifa Society, man. That is crazy, man. I love those as well. Yeah, hey, shout out Blaze, man. Shout out. Is that Wordell? Is that Wordell on there?
Yeah, we're out here on both projects, yeah.
Yeah, hey, shout out Wordell, man. Shout out Blaze, man. Jerry Blaze Mafia, man. That's exciting, man. I like that. I really liked that, man. I did that, man.
Thanks more, Islam.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate your opinion, man. Hey, you already know I love your artwork too, Mo. So we gonna have to collide.
Absolute, immediately, indeed.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That's fire, man. So I guess we can go ahead and close out.
You discovered that.
People did not know.
The whole thing is,
You wanna,
say,
how's money?
as first of all, come on,
You wanna close out in prayer?
the Native Americans watching. Or the Natives watching.
They even said.
How did you discover something?
No, but he even said.
Diaries, yeah. Oh, yeah, sure.
We'll close out in
Yeah.
prayer real quick.
I just started, hey, can I go in your house and discover it, figure out?
Right. These two, one on the left, two on the right. Allah,
Allah,
the Father of the universe,
Father of the universe,
the Father of love,
Father of love,
truth,
truth,
peace,
peace,
freedom and justice.
freedom and justice.
Allah is my protector,
Allah is my protector,
my guide,
my guide,
my salvation,
my salvation,
by night and by day,
by night and by day,
through his holy prophet,
through his holy prophet,
Noble Drew Ali.
Noble Drew Ali.
Amen.
Amen.
Islam. Islam, boys, I see y'all on Wednesday. Everybody in the chat. And before y'all sign off, I want to get just a little video. Go sign off. I gotta get some footage around here, man.
When are you doing?
Feliz Domingo.
Hopefully by July. So,
You have a appellation.
Islam.
Islam.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Well, I'll see y'all on Wednesday. Peace and love.
Islamic wars.
Islam.
Peace, everybody.
Islam.